sword. That's a fresh 2 dead. Make that 3 dead. Last player alive here for FAB Esports is over towards car 2. This flag looks like it's going in here by Ace.
And I love that cutoff route that Renegade took there. Instead of just lagging behind the flag carrier slightly, he decided to push over towards bomb siren, then jump top siren. That was going to prevent any...
Now, one of the reasons that I chose this clip through this series is because you hear Walshy talk about it quite a bit, and what you hear him talking about is how Renegade's set up to be able to pull this flag and set up for his team. What you're about to see is a setup that I call a wall setup, meaning that you set up on one particular side of a map and your team sets up either 2, 3, or 4, typically 3 or 4 is best, for being able to complete an objective. Whether it's a flag, an oddball, which isn't in Halo 5, a stronghold, or anything else. And what you do is you set up, you gain control. Typically on most maps, you gain height advantage. In this case, pink 2, 3, top mid, car 2, whatever. And your team is in a somewhat of a line on that side of the map. And if you look carefully, what Renegade does is he sees that 2 of his teammates are down, but he still has 1 teammate in the enemy base. Now, coming from the middle of the map, or pink side, allows you to be able to have cover on this side of the map and establish control. Now, he decides to move in because he has the advantage on this player that he's shooting, and when he moves in, he doesn't just go charging right into the base right away. And what that does is allows his team to respawn and set up properly. While this flag is out, he still has protection over here. Now, the enemy in this case can spawn in one of 2 spots. They can spawn under the base or they can spawn on top of the base. With his teammate over on the other side, it's highly unlikely that they would spawn over on the car side. Now, realizing that, Brad, who I'm pretty sure it's APG, as you see on the kill streak, they show that he just got a double kill. So he, which is actually smart for APG, he moves away from car into the base, which blocks the top spawn. Upon blocking the top spawn, Renegade, instead of grabbing the flag and taking off with it, moves underneath the base to block that spawn. At the same time he blocks the bottom base spawn, APG blocks the bottom base spawn. So now we have a complete lockout where the enemy can't spawn on top, it was blocked. The enemy can't spawn at pink, it's blocked. The enemy can't spawn underneath the base, it's blocked. They can only spawn in one specific area of the map, and that's car side. Now, because Renegade took control of pink side, his team is likely going to spawn either on the top or bottom of red base on pink side. And that will allow them, in this case Ace and Heinz, to set up at pink tower and initiate a push for the flag while the enemy is still spawning on the other side of the map. In order for them to be able to do something, they would have to, as well, very, very quickly get across the map and lay shots into the flag runner. Now, what Renegade did was one thing that I absolutely love about teams in Halo 5 now that I trained people to do in Halo 3 is to toss the flag and not go for the flag, use it as a decoy, and then when you do that, you're going to see nades come in, you're going to see shots come in, you're going to see all these enemy screens zero in on the flag, but you're regaining your shields or you're making a setup, something like that. So what we're about to see is the block spawn, the wall setup between APG, Renegade, and Ace, and we'll see Heinz in there somewhere. And Renegade does an amazing job of providing assistance. Right there you see APG most likely spawned at the bottom of his base, charged across. They probably called out, hey, you know, we're running the flag, and then Renegade just knowing what to do as a teammate was just incredible in this scene. And what he does is turns and he starts firing the guys that are doing exactly as I said, that were running across off their spawn, charging out blind, and zeroing in on the flag. Upon doing so, you are completely vulnerable to anyone from your side or your back that is going to basically shoot you down. And now he's no longer a factor again. So he's down. You can see there's a guy top car down. That was probably Heinz and or APG. So now the enemy team is again 2 guys down. Renegade, again, knowing that his team has control, he reinforces their setup by running up to top mid and establishing complete control for the whole duration of this clip by setting up the wall, setting up mid control. Now the enemy team has nowhere that they can take advantage of the flag runner, and Str8 gets an almost easy cap. Right there you saw he put shots into the guy car. He doesn't have to kill him. It's just enough to be a distraction, be a nuisance, and stop him from being able to push in.
Off Ace's face.
Yeah,
What do you think about that, Kyle?
There's some decent shots there. Had the nice shot lined up, but must have missed a couple bullets on some of the previous ones to not secure that. And it's 3 that go down for Str8. What a big swing here, just showing how impactful this sword is in those sword runs. You can just get it across the map before these players are coming off of spawn.
Yeah, and that was actually a great run by Foxy. You notice how there's 2 distraction mouths as he's pulling out, and he runs all the way across the map and pulls the second flag. We see FAB being incredibly objective efficient here. They only got a matter of about 6 kills. Look at that double cap for FAB.
And they are coming out hot right now. Str8 Rippin not able to shut down this aggression and not being able to counter the sword flag runs here that are coming out from FAB Esports. You can see the players are just getting a little bit too aggressive. Now, of course, that was a splinter nade behind Heinz, essentially cutting off any plan for retreat here, but just TuFoxy going big with the sword.
Now, one interesting stat I'm seeing over on the Prowler is right now Str8 Rippin is outslaying FAB 29 to 26 kills. However, the score doesn't reflect that because this is an objective game, and Str8 Rippin needs to convert those kills into caps.
And look at that, maybe a triple kill here coming out.
Now, what I want to focus on with this TuFoxy gameplay here is just how incredible his movement was and how great his teamwork was throughout this. Now, right after Renegade caps his flag is when this is taking place. And one of the things that is really important to note in Halo 5, and they talk about it during the tournaments, the casters do, is the effectiveness of the speed with a sword. That means you can lunge further, jump further, slide further, and it's without intent, meaning that as you're about to see, and TuFoxy does this at least 2 or 3 times throughout this scene, is he jumps to top middle and he doesn't get a sprinting start. He doesn't have to do any kind of tricks to get up there like you normally would. With this sword, I believe it's 5% faster than with a normal weapon. So all he has to do is jump, thrust, and he's up there. He doesn't have to scope in and all that nonsense. He's just able to do it because he's moving faster. Now, with that, every time he jumps up to mid, he gets a plasma nade. That reinforces his arsenal to be able to defend himself, help his teammates, keep an enemy back, however you want to look at it. But he's always picking up an asset as he's doing this. So he has the sword, he has faster movement, he's picking up plasma nades, he's gaining control of the map. His teammates have established a control around the edges of the map, so he's able to move freely. He just got that cap, and he's basically moving like as if there's nothing going on. Excuse me, there's nothing going on in this game but him and what he's doing. And when he moves this flag the first time, it's pretty much flawless. Okay, it's not like Halo 4 where you're getting shot and you're getting slowed down. When you're getting shot, the only thing that you have to worry about is whether or not you have cover. And if you have cover, you keep going. But as I said in the last video, the last scene, there are times when it's okay and it's wiser to stop the flag run and stall it and have the enemy think that the flag is out there and you're running it. But with the sword, you're so much faster that it's okay to keep running as long as you have cover. Now here, instead of ground pounding, he thrusts. Why does he not ground pound? Because when you ground pound, you have a couple second delay before new movement. When your team is set up and you are dominating the control of any map, the more time that you take away from your continued push and your force against the opponent, the worse it's going to be for you. Meaning that by thrusting, he's not delayed. He can cap the flag, turn right back around, get his butt back up to top mid, and keep doing what he's doing while his teammates are doing what they're doing, keeping the enemy on the rails, keeping the enemy back on their heels and not able to fight back. Now, what Foxy does, frankly, he is, in my opinion, one of the best European players, which is saying a lot for Europe, but he does an excellent job in game after game. He stands out as the dominant player on his team and in their area, flat out. But this movement to just be able to take off and know that his team has a car, put up a kill assist, grab the flag because he still has sword, and then know just right off the bat, because he just saw his team up there when he was up on middle, to go to car, and he has a safe run because he has two teammates there, is just incredible. It takes experience to do that, don't get me wrong, but it's also common sense. Oh, okay, there's a strong point, let me go for that, right? Well, a lot of people don't even acknowledge that. A lot of people don't address that and think that way. Now, here again, you can see no run, simple thrust, and he's back up on middle because he has the sword. Now, rather than go to the front of the base where there could be nades or he could be exposed, he goes up into the attic, which is a very good move because he's got complete shelter up here because he can't be attacked from behind because it's the other side of the base that has the jump up. And here, his only access to an enemy or to be seen is either someone in the base or if someone just saw him go up there. To escape, you can go out the front if he gets shot in the back, or you can go out to middle if he gets shot from the front. Now here, he's either told that there's two people on his radar, or he just picks up on the fact that there's nades coming in from the right, and he goes for it. Now, it's extremely intelligent to use the sword there, dodge the one guy, because they're focused on the other side of the map. Because they're focused on the other side of the map, they can't respond fast enough, not only to the speed of the sword, but to the fact that it's an instant kill. You can't react fast enough for that. So Str8 just paid for that all over again. Now, here's where Foxy makes his first mistake in this whole scene, and this really irritated me when I saw it live, and it's even more frustrating watching it on repeat. But when you grab a flag and you have an advantage like this, you can see on this pause screen right here that the enemy is weak. You just killed two people. Do not charge your enemy, okay? You're one shot. All he has to do is pistol you, melee you, and you're done. Grab the flag, either jump, thrust, or stand still for all I care, and shoot the guy that's one shot. Don't charge into him. It's just a dumb move. Now, granted, he was probably in the heat of the moment. Everything was going really fast, and this was probably going to be the end of the game right here. But he makes the mistake of charging in and going for a melee, and all he has to do is turn around and melee him back and get the trade. They're both one shot, and, you know, he loses the sword, loses the cap. He could have had a triple kill and a flag run through Pink Tower. You can see even on the pause screen here, I believe it's Ace or APG and Heinz that were just killed, respawn over in car because there's no one on FAB E that is over on car side. So that is open spawn. That is the unlocked spawn zone, and that's the only spawn zone. If he had stopped, pistoled, or thrusted, pistoled, who is it? Heinz? Renegade. Right there, he could have survived. He could have had a flag run. Game would have been over. That's it. But he goes for the melee, and again, it's understandable. It's the heat of the moment. That's probably what it was. But it ultimately costed him. And if he had been able to do that, he could have thrust and launched that flag, and his team set up on pink and middle. They could have had an instant game over and one of the fastest 3 caps in the history of this map. And I don't mean Halo 5. I mean the fact that midship is across almost all Halos at this point.
Looking for places that players are normally going to sit.
Yeah, and you can see there's a great setup here coming from FAB, but they weren't able to execute properly. They only got 20 seconds, while the last time we saw, right, and Str8, when they had their trip cap, accumulated 50. So if they're able to just kind of keep that same pace that they had just a couple minutes ago, they'll be able to close this one out handedly.
Yeah, and that was just surprising how short they kept that trip cap for, and especially got it reversed. A lot of times, teams, when you have trip cap, you're going to make them bleed out for a bit. You're going to make them send a few deaths in one direction or another.
What
before
a nade, Dave. Sorry to cut you off.
No
there,
worries.
Did you see Heinz bounce that splinter off the wall? We've seen a couple other players take that same throw earlier, but Heinz is the first one that actually connected perfectly.
Yeah, and those are just those heads-up plays, just knowing where players are mostly going to come from and finishing off those with grenades.
And take 3 down here. Str8 accumulated 20 points already and still in position, waiting for FAB to come off of spawn to try to shut them down once again. Heinz doing the perfect rotation, immediately going back up to S4, grabbing that splinter nade off of its spawn and putting it to use, connecting once again.
Now, for players out there who might not know the spawn system nearly as well as you, Kyle, why would Heinz be sitting all the way back here over at Nest when his teammates are like near yard and near that?
Now, here's what I love so much about Heinz. First of all, I've been playing with the guy since Halo 3 days, and he's just always been an amazing player. But as you can hear from Walshy and Strongside in the casting, I mean, Heinz is just doing an amazing job, okay? Being able to control this area, a lot of people greatly underestimate control in strongholds. So many players nowadays in Halo 5 think that you have to run around the map and control all 3 strongholds, and if you lose a stronghold, you move on to the next, and blah, blah, blah. That's only true if you don't have control. If you don't have control of the map, and you don't have control of the strongholds, and you don't have control of rotation, then yes, you're going to be running from one lot to the next, to the next, to the next, back and forth throughout the entire game. However, if you are good enough, smart enough, and essentially swift enough to be able to control and move the way that Heinz is moving and cooperate with your teammates the way that he is, you can control an area of just about any map, and particularly on Plaza, which is the most ridiculous map to have in competitive gameplay, but whatever, it's in there. Here, he's controlling the snipe spawn, which is such an asset in Plaza because you have sniper control, you have a stronghold control, and you have instant access to bottom mid control. So you basically have 2 strongholds under very easy control. You have a whole assortment of escapes to be able to dodge an enemy. And on top of dodging an enemy, you have 20 different viewing angles to view the entire expanse of the map to be able to shoot an enemy, as you're about to see in a second. Right here, he's looking around, he can't find anyone. Okay, not a problem. I'll go up and get absolute control at a higher ground. If someone comes up behind me, I'll shoot him. If someone goes to bottom mid, I can shoot him. But right here, he's looking over there. And even that right there, that one tiny little burst, he got the hit marker. And I can't express enough how important these little shots are. So many people undervalue these. And back in the Halo 2 days, this is what Walshy did better than anyone. He's what started this 20, 30 assists per game thing back in Halo 2 is by putting those one single bursts into players. Because now he has his 2 teammates over in the other stronghold. And now when this guy comes in there, it's an uneven battle right off the bat. He's thrusting or jumping into there against 2 of Str8 Rippin opponents, and he's already down shields. He's already at a disadvantage thanks to Heinz. Heinz is calling him out, letting him know they're coming in, and it's just so essential when you are in competitive gameplay to put those individual shots on players and make it an uneven battle in advantage of your team. And right here, he sees his teammates go down. Okay, well, you know what? They had an advantage, but they were probably weak from before. So I have this nade. Let me wall. Okay, these are what I call wall nades or trap nades. He's setting it up as either a plasma nade or in Halo 5 a splinter nade, where if anyone wants to jump up there and try and establish any kind of authority or control, they're going to have to go through this big freaking wall of fire, basically, and he absolutely plans this beautifully as he hits him down and kills him right there. And again, 2-3 shots, stays alive. It's amazing how much experience Heinz has from all the Halos, and he's really shining through with this group in the new Str8 Rippin. Now, a lot of people would jump out of S4 and challenge right there, but you know what? Heinz figures, you know what? I got 3 shots on him. In the very least, I kept him back. Your shields are dropped. He's going to have to regain his shields. I have time. I still have shields. Let me keep putting shots on someone. Bam. One burst into the guy across map to help his teammates and goes right back to controlling the zone. This is how you want to play if you want to be an asset to your team and you want to get better at Halo. You put shots on anything that moves that is not your own team. And here, as he moves out, he still has that area controlled because he knows that his team was over there at the other side. And now his team has moved down to bottom mid-ish, not 100%, but kind of, to be able to stop the cap down there. So he's able to move in across from the actual sniper spawn to put in assists over here, gets 1 kill, and then, you know what? No one's there? Okay, no problem. Let's move back and regain control. Absolutely perfect. The rotation is absolutely amazing. As you saw, as I said earlier, just a few seconds ago, he controls sniper spawn. The sniper hasn't come up yet, but he has control. And when they started to lose bottom mid stronghold, he spawned his teammates in perfect sequence to regain it without any hassle whatsoever. The other enemy is still trapped over at the other side. So if they're trapped at the other side, they can't possibly make it in enough time to make an effect at bottom mid, and they sure as heck aren't going to be able to impact any kind of situation going on with Heinz at snipe. And again, you just saw right there, he gets another burst shot on an enemy while he gets naded. So now his teammate can go in there, challenge, and gain control of that area. And as you see on the screen, he survives. This is what I'm talking about. These assist shots are so pertinent. They are so important to being able to succeed, to being able to take absolute control. And here you can see right on the screen at this pause, they gained absolute control of all 3 strongholds. Now, it would be in Heinz's best interest at this particular point to rotate out to the right or drop down to snipe. I think he challenges and loses the challenge here, but it's kind of because he gets trapped because now his teammate is spread across. So you have to determine as a team, is the complete control worth one of our teammates dying and then cycling and rotating back to sniper where he was before? Or do we just leave the 2 strongholds and maintain a 2 stronghold dominance for the next several minutes? Sometimes it's absolutely worth the control, but sometimes it's not. If you have 3 teammates on the other side of the map, then it's worth it because then you're all grouped and Heinz will respawn next to them, and then all you have to do is rotate and cycle back to sniper and regain that stronghold and resume from there. So it's really just a matter of how well your team is set up in any particular circumstance. But I encourage you to rewatch this clip from Heinz because he did an excellent job of control, excellent job of support, excellent job of spawning. And that is exactly what you want in a teammate. If ever there was a time that Heinz was to be a perfect teammate, it is in this sequence right here.